Good evening, folks. Mike's Life Live Neat. It's Mike out here on the porch again, in front of the pool. Beautiful evening. Rain today. It's a little cool out here. Tonight I've got a Garrison Warfighter 50 cal Oscar Maduro. Again, probably butchering that name, but you can see the label there. I've had these before, very good. Picked this one up in Blairsville at the, I think I talked on the last video, at the Sheepdog Cigars, and a veteran-owned company. They have several variations, several lines of these. They're all named after, rifle rounds. This is the 50 cal. They got a 5.56 and a bunch of other ones. If you go to their, you look them up, you'll see. I've had several of them. They're all pretty good. I think I've had this one before, I'm pretty sure. My favorite, Maduro, that dark wrapper. Nicaraguan. These are made in the Plasencia factory in Nicaragua. But the company is veteran owned. Go ahead and cut it. A little V cut on there again, crooked, but it'll do the job. These things, they're, again, being a Maduro, a lot of coffee, espresso, chocolate. Kind of got a little chocolate smell. So we will see. Hope y'all had a good week. I had a pretty good week. Short, because I was on vacation. I think you saw my video the other day. Just got back. Real good trip with the family up to the mountains. And always nice to have a little shorter week, but we got some bad news with my job. Several levels up. One of the in fact, the guy that gave me the job I have now, supervisory job, passed away unexpectedly. 59 years old. I'm 56. So it makes you think. He was not feeling well. Apparently went home half a day. And like most high pressure jobs, they don't leave you alone. Couldn't get a hold of him, sent someone to his house later in the day and found him passed away. They're saying it was from a heart attack, but that's all we know right now. We'll see, but probably the case. The thing is, I went out to, if you remember a few weeks ago, I went to headquarters there, and he actually went to the cigar bar with us, and he didn't drink liquor, didn't smoke. He wasn't but he sat out there. We went outside and he sat with us in the group, and big beer drinker though. He did like beer, but he no sign of it that day. In fact, he looks pretty good. You think of a lot of 59-year-olds and you picture somebody nowadays pretty freaking decrepit, which is sad, but he was actually in a shorts and a t-shirt and looked pretty good. You know, I was kind of surprised when I heard this, but I guess it goes to show you, you never know. I have no idea about his health history or nothing like that. I did not see him on a daily basis. He was at headquarters there, and my boss is over there. I don't have anybody here, supervisors here in town. So it was a shock, really was. Again, he's the one who gave me this position. I only met him a couple times, but I guess he saw something in me and offered it to me, and gave me this opportunity, and I'll always appreciate that. And I always made sure to tell him that. I didn't see him very much, but I made it a point to tell him that. He probably thought it was aggravating, but you got to appreciate it when somebody sees something. They don't really know you, but they see something and give you a chance. And I got to say, I appreciated it. And you know, he was a hard guy to work for. I didn't work directly for him, so it wasn't too bad for me, but he expected a lot out of his people, rightfully so. And just makes you think, you know, at 59, you know, most of us are still working in these line of work, firefighters, police officers, you know, I guess the military, I don't know. I've heard some of them have that TRICARE for life for insurance, but most police and firemen are working for insurance. And because you don't, contrary to what the public thinks, most of us don't get, you know, any kind of insurance when you leave. Health insurance. There's some folks I work with that are retired from up in the northern cities, and some of them have health insurance, but most of us don't have that. I don't know, you know, there's some weird rumor going around that we do, but we don't. So most of us are back working for that reason, because it's, for a couple, it's $1,200 to $1,400 a month, and that's a lot for a retired guy. But and if anybody out there has any other suggestions, please let me know. I'm not unhappy with what I'm doing, but after hearing things like him passing at 59, it makes you think maybe I need to get out. The last thing I want to be doing is working this job, whether I'm at work or at home, and pass away still employed. I want to enjoy a few years. I am collecting my other retirement from the city, but I like a few years of just hanging out doing what I want to do. But that's where we are, paying for insurance. But gosh, if you can, there's no sense in, I got people I work with that are still here, and I don't know why. I guess a lot of us don't know what else we would do. We'd be bored, you know, all the things you hear. But they're also aggravated and ready to call it quits. But I don't know. It's just a weird thing when you hear out of the blue somebody who seemed pretty healthy the other day, 2 weeks ago. I guess we were over there in Tallahassee, and he came to dinner with us and was drinking some beers and talking shit. And, you know, like I said, he was pretty fit looking. You know, like none of us, not a sports model, but he wasn't like he was, you know, 400 pounds. You know, he looked pretty good. And so when my boss called me and told me, I was kind of taken aback. One, and two, by his age. I don't know. I guess the moral of that story is get out while you can, because none of us know what's around the corner, you know. So anyway, this thing's pretty good. Like I said, it's the 50 cal Corojo Maduro, veteran-owned company. One of them I got from Sheepdog Cigars. I think it says on this label down here, this bottom, Oscuro Maduro. If you see these, even if you're not a fan of Maduros, I say give it a try. They're not real expensive. Kind of like most Maduros, a little bit of coffee, chocolate, but no pepper, nothing real sharp, kind of a smooth cigar. Like I said, I've had one before. Pretty good. I think you'll like it. But I'm drinking it with this. Look at the color on that. That's pretty wild. This is a Old Forester single barrel rye. These come in different proofs. This one is 129.8 proof. It's the green label. I'm sure you've seen the blue label. And man, I'd like to get my hands on the black label. I've never seen one. I don't know why. Never seen where, but I see the blue label everywhere and the green label. Never seen the black label. I hear that's the best one, but I don't know. This thing is pretty hot. This one, they come in different proofs because it's a single barrel, and I forget the range. I looked at it before, but the range. But this is at the high end. It's definitely 129.8. That's pretty high proof for this bottle. I will say it doesn't drink that high. It is a rye, so you got the combination of the high proof and the rye spice, but definitely it tastes some vanilla, some cherry, but it's pretty hot. I will say, I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty good, but if you don't like that high proof stuff, the blue label's gotten that way too. I think a few years ago it was better, but I don't know. A lot of these Old Forester blue and green labels are pretty hot now, but I want to say these are around here between like $80 and $120 for a bottle, depending on where you go. I might pick one up if you see one, especially if you like Old Forester. But if you don't like real hot, I wouldn't get it. Some people are proof hounds. I'm not necessarily. I don't really care what proof it is as long as it's good. This one is definitely hot, but not bad. It is 65% rye, 20% malted barley, 15% corn. Pretty good, but hot. You know what, guys? If I got a few things I want to do before I leave, so I'll probably be there a couple more years. But if you're sitting there on the fence and you can leave, you should probably take advantage of it. Especially if you're some kind of a first responder. I mean, the odds are stacked against you. You got a shorter life expectancy. You got a lot of shit going on up here, most of us. And there's life outside of law enforcement or firefighting or whatever else you're part of. Military, I guess. A lot of us got wrapped up in the identity of it. Especially if it's all you've done. It's a calling. It's not like other jobs, you know, like I know people who work for different companies like, you know, Blue Cross or this or that, and you know, to me, at least for me, I can only speak for myself. Most things like that are just a job, and you can move around and you can, you know, but law enforcement, I would think firefighting, I would think a career military person, I would think even people in the medical field. Because a lot of them you get paid pretty good, but you're never going to get rich. You're not going to get rich being a policeman. Even if, as somebody who gets promoted high up, I mean, you can make a little bit of money, but you're never going to be rich. You know, it's working for the government. There's trade-offs. I think I talked before about when the economy crashed back in 2008. Prior to that, people were like, you're a sucker working for the government, and why are you doing that? And you could be making all this money in the private sector, and you know, you're going to limit yourself. And then the private sector went to crap, and people lost their jobs and their houses and all. And I just kept trucking along, and then I'm considered greedy because I'm working, you know, as a police officer. You know, somehow I'm a bad guy now. I'm like, before I was a sucker, now I'm a bad guy. How's that work? But that's what people were telling me. And I don't need to be rich. I just need to be able to pay for what I want to have. And I can do that with what I'm doing. But it's hard to leave because it's kind of part of you. It's part of, I think I made a video, it's what you do, it's not who you are. And that's true, but I'll say that it's hard to leave, at least for me. I can only speak for myself, because I did. I tried to go into different things when I left JSO, and it just didn't give you the the satisfaction. These other jobs that you got doing these service jobs, and if you don't look at law enforcement and firefighting and different things like that as a servant job, then you're looking at it wrong, because you are. People call on you on their worst day. Think about it. Other than maybe a car crash, which for most people, thank God, that's their worst day. Not many of us have had to call the police to come deal with their issues. But when you do, so you know, when you have to call the police, some shit has gone south for you. And as an officer, I've always, or as a detective or whatever I did in that job, I've looked at it as my opportunity to help people get through whatever they're facing. I talked about the lady whose husband passed away in the hotel room a few weeks back. I've got 1,000 stories like that, and again, I do it as hard as some of that stuff was. I do it again. In fact, I wish I could, so I could do it better. After experiencing it and having some age on me, because of course that happened. I was in patrol. Hell, I was in my early 20s, you know. So I wish I could go back today. I'd know what to say. That I didn't know what to say. You know, it was tough at somebody who's 23 or whatever I was at the time, and never really faced a lot of family passing or any family passing at that point. So you know, what do you say? I just did the best I could. But you know, in my mind, I think I could have done better. I could have helped that lady more. But that's what you do in these jobs. You know, you go into them with the heart of a helper, and you do a lot of other stuff as a police officer, or even as a firefighter. You know, as a police officer, you got car pursuits and, you know, all the fun stuff, you know, that's on cops. But really, most of your job is going to people on their worst day. Their house got broken into. Their family heirlooms have been stolen. Best case scenario. Worst case scenario is a loved one has passed or been murdered. Worst case scenario. And you're there to, of course, handle the situation and provide them with some comfort. And I guess I say all that to say is that can bring a lot of internal satisfaction, because it doesn't bring you financial rewards. Some, but like I said, you're not going to get rich doing it. But my rewards came in here. And I'm proud of what I did, but I wish I could have done better. So, that being said, there comes a time you got to call it quits and start living for yourself. And you've done all you can do, and it's time to pass the torch. And sometimes we stay too long, and we die in that chair or in that car. And I've known police officers who died, pushing somebody's car out of the street, had a heart attack. Older fellas that probably should have left, but were still there for whatever reason. And something simple as pushing a car out of the street got them. But if you're in a position where you can go, that company, that department, that agency, that fire department, or wherever you work, they'll keep rolling without you. There'll be a few guys that go, oh, you remember Mike, or remember, so yeah, he was a good guy, or he was an asshole, whatever. But other than that, they'll keep rolling, and within a few years, they don't remember who you are. And I'm okay with that. That's as it should be. The world keeps moving. The only ones who really care about you are your family and maybe one or two friends. And I say one or two because it's probably one or two. A lot of people you consider friends are not really your friends. They're work cohorts, or whatever you want to call them, acquaintances. But you see them every day at work. You work with them. You ride in the car with them. But once that relationship ends, that connection, depending on the person, most of the time you never see them people again or hear from them. It's very seldom that those people have a lasting connection with you. And my friend Eddie is one of them that has, but I've got a bunch of them who I thought, not mad about it, but I thought were pretty good friends. We were pretty tight. But once that work connection ended, that was kind of it. I hadn't really heard from them since. Which is okay, because everybody's got their own stuff going on. But anyway, long story short, based on this person passing at 59, it gives you food for thought, and come up with an exit strategy if you're sitting there at this point where you can leave if you want to, because you never know what's going to happen. I'm quite sure, based on 2 weeks ago when we were eating dinner and at the cigar bar, he had no idea this was coming 2 weeks later. He didn't look like any of this was coming 2 weeks later. I mean, hours. We spent, of course, 3 days, him in and out, and then that whole evening, dinner, cigar bar. I mean, it was late by the time we left. There was no sign of it. And 2 weeks later, to the day, he's gone. Just weird. Think about it, guys. This thing I hadn't gotten, it's burning slow, which is good. It's Friday night. I'm gonna enjoy myself, but haven't had to correct anything. Pretty straight burn. I don't know if you can see that pretty white ash. They say if you have a white ash like that, white ash. We all have a white ash, I guess. But if you have a real white colored ash like that, there's a lot of magnesium in the soil. I don't know what that means. they said it didn't really affect the taste. It's just something you could tell by the color of the ash. And they're right. This one's pretty white. I've had some that are more black and different colors, but just thought that was interesting. But I wouldn't say it's a tight draw, but a little bit. But that's not all bad. I think that's why it's burning slower. But if you see these, give it a try. Just if you like Maduro. This is a Maduro without all the pepper, without all the heat. Like I said, a little bit of chocolate, espresso, a little bit of peanut. I don't know what the official notes are, but I've got a ton of cigars in there. I had to make a promise to myself not to buy no more. I've got so many cigars in there to review. I need to stop. I've got a problem. This cigar company send you these ads, with free shipping, or this 5-packs, or 2 5-packs for one, and all these deals, and oh God, I got to get that, and new release, limited release, and you want to buy all these things, and next thing you know, I can't. I've got 3. They're not huge humidors. They're all full, jam packed. So I gotta stop. I just gotta go through some of these that I got. It's these cigar companies. I really only buy from 3. I use Cigar Place, I use Cigars Daily, and Cigar Page. I'm sure there's a bunch. I know a lot of people use Thompson, and those are just the ones I use. Cigars Daily and Cigars Place, if you like to buy singles, I like them because you could buy singles from them. Whereas Cigar Page, at least, I don't think they let you buy singles, because especially if something you have no idea if you're going to like. It looks interesting. I hate to even buy a 5-pack. Sometimes if it's a limited release or something, I might buy it just to have them, because when you go back, sometimes they're gone. But if it's something somebody suggested on a video, I'll just buy one, a bunch of singles, and see if you like it before you commit to a 5-pack or a box. I don't buy many boxes anymore, but because by the time you're done smoking them, you're tired of them. So I kind of stick to 5-packs or singles. And I still like going into brick and mortar stores and getting one here and there. But anyway, pretty good stick. If you like hot drinks, this one's fits the bill. Like I said, a little bit of cherry, vanilla, and brown sugar, but very spicy. And I think it's a combination of the proof, 129.8, and then being a rye. So I think, again, 65% rye, which is a lot higher than, say, Eagle Rare is supposed to be a rye, but I guess the mash bill is not released, but what people believe it is not nearly that. But anyway, you guys have a good night, a good weekend. I got a long weekend. I'm off Monday, and my wife's birthday. She'll be 1 year older. She'll be 1 year older than me until September. So it's funny. Years ago, we went to one of the Alvin's Island. If you're familiar with Florida, every little beach town's got Alvin's Island. They sell all the beach crap and T-shirts and all. And I found one years ago that said cougar bait, and it had a cougar or something, jumping across the shirt. And I bought it, and every year from her birthday to mine, I would wear it every few days. Just a bugger. And the kids laughed, and good times, man. And what made it even funnier is that they only had one, and it was too small, so it was super tight on me. So I don't know. Guess you had to be there. But anyway, we had fun with it. Not sure where the shirt went. I don't have it anymore. She probably got rid of it. I had it for years though. But anyway, hey, you guys, if you like what I'm doing here, please like and subscribe. Getting some good comments. I appreciate that. Gotten some new followers. I appreciate every one of you guys that follows me. It's slow going, and I guess that's because of what I put out. I guess I don't know, but you guys that stick with me, I appreciate it. You guys have a good night, and stay safe, and have a good weekend. I'll probably post something this weekend, maybe some kind of short or something, but we'll see. See ya.